If I was to be kind of honest, like I didn't know what voiceover was, so all I could think about was Optimus Prime.
I hope you don't mind me asking, but how much do you make per day?
With voiceover, it's so simple. It's just I breathe out, I get paid.
Krit Sukawat. You might not be familiar with his face, but if you've ever gone to a cinema in Thailand or watched the first 5 seconds of any car commercial on YouTube, then you've definitely heard him.
New Ford Ranger FX4 Max. New Honda CBR 600RR.
He is one of Thailand's top voice artists and has done voiceover commercials for the world's top brands, including Snickers, Chevrolet, Honda, Coca-Cola, and has even voiced some of Disney Plus's favorite characters. He's the first and only Thai-based voice artist that has been added to the elite roster in one of America's top voiceover agencies. And most recently, he has garnered over 150,000 followers on TikTok with over 1.2 million likes in a span of just 1 month. The ultimate God voice, Krit Sukawat. Okay, great. So how did you get into the voiceover industry?
Okay, it was by chance because I was an intern at an ad agency called Spa Hakuhodo, and that's down the street. I'm there with my friend Taeho, a Korean guy. So we were speaking to each other in English, and one day, one of the ad executives, she was like, "Hey, can you come with me to our other floor? We have the studio, and we want you to record something for us." So I said, "Okay." And it was like a little fake kind of like TVC voiceover for this company called PTT, which is like the energy company, right? And the reason they were using an intern is because they didn't want to hire like an actual voice artist to come in to do that, right? Saving cost. And it turned out like months later after I wasn't an intern no more, they called me back and they were like, "Hey, that client, PTT, actually decided to work with our agency, and they said they wanted the same voice artist that did did the pitch TVC." So I was like, okay. So I go in and to like an actual recording studio this time, and they played me the ad, and they said, "Okay, step inside here and say this line." And the line was 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the world of speed and power. Just that, right? And then I was like, okay. So I go out and they hand me this little envelope, and it was like 20,000 baht inside for like a minute or 2 minutes of work, right? At the time, as a broke college kid, 20,000 baht for a minute of work was a pretty good deal. So I was like, you know what? This is what I'm gonna do for life.
Right.
And yeah, that's how I started.
But that was the first job ever, right? Like
Yeah.
when you recorded, like did you have somebody in the back of your head that you wanted to mimic? Like how did you know how to read in a way that would be pleasant to the ears?
If I was to be kind of honest, like I didn't know what voiceover was, so all I could think about was Optimus Prime.
Nice.
That's
Yeah, you do have an Optimus Prime kind of voice, Darth Vader, anything
Yeah.
that's like low bass.
a lot of it is more like voice acting and understanding the role and whatnot. But like in the beginning, I didn't know what was what, so that's what came out. It's one of my first kind of jobs, right? It's been 10 years, 10, 11 years since then. This is, I gotta say, a career path that's hard to kind of advance in the beginning, because I was lucky. My first ad was for PTT Lubricants, right? The engine oil company of Thailand, basically. And although it was an ad played on national TV, so like just bam, first job, like national TV, right? It didn't mean like the whole country would know who I am, because only the client and the agency knew who I was, right? So if you were another company, you heard that ad and you wanted that dude's voice, you had no idea who that dude was, right? And if you contact the studios, and be like, "Hey, we want the guy on that PTT ad," they won't know who I am, because I've only worked with one studio. Right now, if you do that, if you just like find my ad on TV and just send it to any studio and be like, who's this? They'll know who I am. But at the time, they won't, right? So how I advanced in the career was I just went with PTT on multiple recordings for multiple ads, and then I'd get to know this new studio, and they would have that one sample of mine, and then another studio, and then another studio, and then like the lady that knew me from this studio would quit, and then they won't know me no more. And yeah, so it took time. And a lot of people, I kind of feel like, I'm 31, almost 32 now, but a lot of people that make it in this industry have to be at least 30, 35, and a lot of times 40, before people know who you are, because you don't have that, screen time. People don't see your pretty face. So,
Right. Has there ever been a time where you want to be in front of the camera because you're doing a lot of voice work behind the camera?
When you're young and stuff, and you see a lot of people on TV and whatnot, you might feel like, hey, maybe that's something cool. Maybe I want to be on camera one day, like right now, right? And it has crossed my mind. But then if you really think about it, and if you've been in the industry long enough, and at this point, I've done like live news broadcasting at NBT World or wherever, right, on camera, that it's a lot more chill. Just behind the mic.
Right.
Right, because you have to get, like today, we're on camera. And people don't think about this, right? People are always like, hey, why don't you go on camera? Why don't you do MC work and stuff? And I'm like, if you really think about it, voiceover work is like the best job there is almost. Because to come here today, we had to travel, right? And I had to travel far to get here.
Yes.
Just joking. I live across the street.
Yeah.
But one, you got to travel. You got to worry about what you need to wear. Worry about your makeup, even for guys, right, on TV. And then worry about the script. And when things are live, things keep shifting. There's a bunch of mess, right? But in the world of voiceover, it's pretty simple. It's like, hey, send me the script once you're 100% complete with it, and there's not going to be any more changes. And send me the money also. And I'm going to record it, and it's going to take 2 minutes, and then I'm going to move on to the next job, and that's it. So, I mean, I prefer to do voiceovers and do that all day because, if you think about it, this session might run for a couple hours, right? Or if it was a TV session or whatever. But if I was just doing voiceover work, I'd be able to do like 3 or 4 jobs within this session. So actually, I lost money being here.
Oh, well, thank you. We're very honored that you're here with us.
But I'm happy to be here. It's been a while since I've been on the mic with Natty.
Yeah.
Because we used to, you want to...
Radio Thailand together a little bit, loving it together at Radio Thailand. Do you mind telling us the process of how voiceover works? So I know that you do it in Thai and English. Has there ever been a time where the client sent you like a poorly translated script and you had to rewrite it, or how's the process?
Okay, cool. That was 2 questions. So I started voiceover work in English because like I told you guys, right? I was speaking to my friend in English at the ad agency. So that's what they wanted me for on that day. And because I studied at an international school, right, I'm more used to speaking in English and stuff, but I'm not good at any languages, by the way. Like I took French, Japanese, Thai. I'm bad at everything, and my grammar sucks. But I felt more confident in English at first, and I didn't feel confident at all with my Thai. Right, I read Thai very slowly and stuff. So it was English for the first, like, let's say 6-7 years of voiceover work. And it was fine because, there's not a lot of English speaking like voice artists here in Thailand. Right. So for a while, like, I was making the dough because like not a lot of competition. But as time went on, a lot of clients were like, hey, would you, voice this in Thai for us? Because a lot of clients want like the same guy for 2 different voiceovers, one in Thai, one in English or whatnot. And so right now we're just speaking about like, the voiceover industry in in Thailand first. And then one day I did like voiceover for a real estate company. And I was like, hey, are you guys sure you want it in Thai? I mean, I had no choice because, when a studio calls me, and this kind of touches on your question of the process, right? It starts when a studio who has your samples, they kind of act like an agency, and they call you and they're like, hey, are you free on this particular day? If you are free, then they'll pitch your samples to their client, and if you get chosen, then they'll call you back and be like, come to the studio at this time, and we're gonna do whatnot. Well, sometimes I don't even know what company I'm working with that day. I don't see the script until I walk into the room, right? Which is fine because that's the beauty of voiceover work. We don't have to prep for it, right? If you're an actor, you go on, you need to know your lines, whatnot. I don't need to know anything. Just tell me when it's time. I'm only gonna work when it's my time to work, and I'm gonna get paid for that time, right? So that one time I went in, it was a real estate company, and I saw the script and it was in Thai, and I was like, hey, did you guys forget to remove the script from the guy before or whatnot? They're like, no, you're voicing in Thai today. I'm like, are you sure? And so I was like, very nervous. From time to time you'd hear people be like, hey, your Thai's a little off or whatnot, right? And I would always feel like, hey, my Thai is not 100%. So, I don't feel very comfortable doing this. But what the client said was, no, we wanted someone that sounds like you because we're selling this condominium to people like you, like Bangkokian people, that have experience internationally, and so they sound like you. So our target sounds like you. So your voice is perfect for this. So when I hear that, then I was like, oh, okay. I felt confident, like whatever I produce is gonna be right for at least this target audience, right? And then I started doing Thai voiceover work, and as soon as I had that one job done, then they pitched it to other clients, and then I started getting more Thai work to the point where like now I'm pretty sure like I'm top 10 or top 20 for like Thai voiceovers, but I'm the only guy I think within that group that actually does English voiceovers. Right. And again, jumping back to the process, it's basically just that. You get chosen, you voice it, you sit down, they edit your voiceover onto the ad. You basically sit or just sleep for 2 hours.
Oh gosh.
And or talk to your other clients, and then they might want to fix a word or two, and then you're done. You get paid, you go home.
You make it sound like it's so easy. Like this job fell into your lap, and then you don't have to do any preparation, and you just kind of go.
Yeah. Like people don't understand like how easy it is because like we're used to thinking about work as something you need to prep for.
Yeah.
Right. You need to prepare some documents. You gotta dress up. You gotta do something. But literally like voiceover work, it's just you need to talk to the client one time. Just tell them, hey, when you're ready, pay me and send me a script, and then you're good to go. So that's the beauty of it.
Your voiceover jobs, I kind of noticed that at the beginning, you had a lot of car commercials.
Yeah.
Can you tell me what's going on there? Are you afraid of being typecast?
Okay, so here is the thing, right? I started off with that PTT lubricants thing, which is kind of related to cars and stuff. And because that's not how you're supposed to start off as a voice artist, by the way. Not like, hey, your first thing and that song is going to be on national TV. That's not how you start. Really, how you're supposed to start is you're supposed to make multiple demos. Demos as in like fake voiceovers, right? But in different styles, so the client can hear your range. I didn't know people did that, so I just had my car ad, and then the next client would hear the car ad, and they'd only want it because they were making some kind of like automotive industry kind of ad, right? Or like what we call corporate video, so I'd read a corporate video for Bridgestone or Mitsubishi and whatnot. So it'll be kind of in the same thing, and once in a while a client might come and be like, hey. And this client being like Singha lemon soda, they're like, hey, we just want you to do like a fun ad for our new drink, because I was the first voice artist for Singha lemon soda. And I was like, are you sure? Like nothing in my portfolio looks that sounds anything similar to that. So yeah, I was kind of typecast because I don't have a demo reel. And I still don't have a demo reel, and I'm probably not going to do one because at this point, like I probably have like a bunch of different styles. But if you're starting out in voiceover, you want to get in, do multiple demos and stitch them together as a reel. So another thing you have to understand too is like in other countries, right? They may like if I did a voiceover for Ford or Toyota or whatnot, they want you to voice for them exclusively for like 6 months or whatever. So then they'll sign a contract and pay you for that amount of time they're going to run your ad. That doesn't exist in Thailand. So everything's like you just get paid once for it, and they might use it for 20 years, right? And so there are no contracts, which means I can work with like this week I can work with Ford, and I can work with Toyota if I want, and I can work with Chevrolet, because I'm not getting paid for the amount of time it's going to be used, and I'm not exclusive with them. Then I might as well kind of typecast myself to be like the guy for all the truck ads, to the point where it's like if it's a truck ad and it doesn't have my voice, then it's not really a truck ad. So
Right.
yeah, and I enjoy these car ads because when I did the oil lubricant kind of stuff, and I did like multiple other auto industry related stuff before I actually got to do like a real car TVC. I was always like, man, I wish I could do one of those car ads. That's my thing. It's the thing I enjoy doing. Like if you gave me an ad for say like detergent, I'd still do it. Nothing funny about that,
No.
Yeah, detergent or like soap or whatever. Like I'd do it, but like I enjoy the car ads most. So,
Why is that?
I don't know, like just being a guy, and like these car ads, they're like multi-million dollar ads, right? They film that for like years, and it's always made very, very well. Everything's like, on point. Whereas like, you can do a voiceover for something like animation too, right? You get paid the same, but it always looks, the car ads and stuff, they're always done super, super nice. So I like to have stuff like that in my portfolio, and so I don't mind being typecast
All right.
as the car guy.
Right.
And the funny story is there were a couple car companies that didn't want to use me because they were all like, but you voice for other brands. But I'm like, but you don't pay for exclusivity, so you're gonna be mine. For example, Toyota.
Okay.
Right. I waited for years to get Toyota, and they were nice enough when they did hire me. I got to do like the GR Sport, which is like their the souped up version of their like CHR, of their Supra and everything. And so I'd have an ad with like a Supra on it, and that was one of the first ones that kind of like did pretty well on my TikTok. And you don't get higher than a Supra ad, because if you look at it, the top car company, people would say like Tesla or whatever. Maybe that's like the fastest growing one. I don't know. But like, if you look at the value of the car companies, the top one is Toyota still, right? And the top car for Toyota is the Supra. So I have that, and I'm like, yep, my portfolio is complete. Yeah.
Okay, I want to move away from your voice-over commercial ads a little bit.
Yeah.
And I know you do some dubbing as well for Disney Plus and whatnot.
Yeah.
So tell me about dubbing. Do you enjoy doing it?
Do I enjoy doing it? From time to time, right? And I get this question a lot. People are like, hey, do you like, dub movies? Or animations, and I'm like, yeah. And to me, like to the audience, right, or to the everyday people, it seems like people think like dubbing is like a cool job to do, and it's not an uncool job. It's still fun, but if you compare it to like the commercial voiceovers, right, I am the voice of that ad. When like when the Ford F-150 Lariat diesel launched, that was me. We'll come back to that later, but that was my voice. I say it the way I want to say it, and the speed I want to say it at, and that's me designing the voice, right? While if I was dubbing a character, I don't know, I dubbed English to English, which is kind of weird. Like maybe they filmed some Slavic dudes that were supposed to be American or something, and I had to give them a more American voice, right?
I
But
see.
I'm Thai. It's funny.
Interesting.
I had to dub these white dudes that some may say are racist, because this was the American Civil War,
Okay, got
right?
it. Yeah.
And it was a movie about these Thai slave owners in the States. That you may have heard of them, the Siamese twins.
Yes.
They were Thai, but like they were down south, so they actually owned slaves too. And there's a lot of like those folks. And when you dub someone, you have to say the lines correctly in the right kind of accent, in the right style and tone, but it has to also fit the mouth movement
Right.
of the actor or animation. So you're gonna do that for like multiple times before you actually get a line that fits, right? So would I want to voice something like 10 times, or do I want to just voice something 2 or 3 times, right? And I'd rather do 2 or 3 times in an ad than 10 times in a dub.
Now we're going to go to the dark side a little bit. Well,
The
not
dark
really.
side.
Not really, but
So we're going to Pattaya City, where I come from.
have you ever been rejected for a voiceover job before?
Never. I'm just joking. No. Like anything in the entertainment industry, you gotta get rejected too, right? And you have to cast or audition for these jobs. So, like I told you earlier, in Thailand, how it works is clients will contact a studio. Studios will have your samples if you're one of the top guys, and clients choose from your samples, which means you don't audition, right? But technically, like, you're kind of fighting for the job with your sample without having to do anything. So they might send the top 10 and top 20 guys off to a client, and the client will choose like the best one. Now, if you're going to survive in the industry, you have to win at least like maybe 30 to 50% of the times, right? So the other 50 or 70% of the time, you didn't get the job. But it's fine because you didn't work for that audition. Where in the States, it's a little bit different. Jobs are more high paying, right? They come through your agency, but you'd be expected to like audition with that particular script, which is a little hard because sometimes you don't see the video, you don't hear the music, right? You just see the script and you have to interpret that and kind of like look for clues within the script and the description of like what kind of voice should I use for this character, because you might have the voice but you might be using the wrong one for the audition, right? So yeah, that's how it works there. So I have friends that like, you know, audition like 100 times a month and they may get 1 or 2 or 3 jobs, but that's like as much as I would make here getting and like working on like 100 jobs. You never know. But there, you know, there's pros and cons, because if I auditioned all month long and like 97 times I got rejected, I'd probably be depressed, right? Where in Thailand, you don't get as much auditioning jobs, but like, you know, it's automatic and you just either get it or you don't, whatever. But then every time you go do your work, every time you're in front of a microphone, you make money. So, you know, it feels better than getting rejected 97% of the time. But I mean, I work both systems, so, you know, that makes it up.
What would you do when the next Krit comes along? Because obviously one day there's going to be a younger version of Krit coming.
Then I'd probably be doing like old characters.
Old characters, okay.
But like the thing is, I think my voice sounds a little bit old. Anyways, a lot of people are like, I thought you were 40 or 50. So then hopefully I could, you know, I won't have to transition so hard when I'm 40 or 50 or 60, right? I'm actually, I got to do an audition tonight for some clients in LA for like a role where I'm like 60. You know, I already auditioned and I was just like, and I sent them the email. I was like, I'm not really known for sounding super old, but I will try. So I tried it. But they were like, yeah, we want you to sound, you know, we'd want you to do it with a Thai accent now.
Oh no!
Like,
Is that
so in English, but with a Thai accent, and I'm terrible at that. You know,
Dear, yeah.
So I mean, I'm terrible at accents. I don't do accents, right?
Do you find that racist though? You know, like there's many actors and actresses who kind of go audition for the role, and obviously they're Asian, and they're like, okay, we want you to do this line, and then they do it with their normal accent, which is American, and then they're like, okay, great, but can you add like your twang, like your Vietnamese twang, but for a voiceover talent? Do you find that a bit racist?
I don't know. Like it's hard to call this job like racist, because they actually searched for me on this thing called like PMG, but it's kind of like a list of people of color. I think that's what the Americans call people that are non-white.
Okay,
right?
people of color, yes.
And so sometimes when there's a job that, you know, where the character is, you know, maybe Asian or, you know, black or whatnot, they'll try to, they'll try to actually find voice artists from this list. So they get, you know, so it's not like a Caucasian person voicing for an Asian character. So they, they're trying to keep it diverse, you know. But I understand like the character, this particular character, he's much older, and he's supposed to be like a older Thai guy living in Thailand. So it makes sense that he has a more, you know, Thai English accent. I don't think like he's supposed to be speaking in English anyways, but like it's you know, kind of translated into English kind of deal, you know. So yeah, I don't really find it racist. And like that movie The Cave, which is like maybe the third The Cave movie, but the one like Hollywood's making, right? You know, they actually reached out too, and they're like, hey, we want you to, you know, try out for some of the lines. You know, we could get like a Caucasian American guy to dub it, right? But we'd rather have someone from Thailand to dub it, you know, to keep it authentic, right?
Oh.
So yeah, but my problem is I don't do like a Thai English kind of accent very well. I don't do any accents and stuff. That's not my thing.
And how do you take care of your voice, because you are a voice artist?
Okay, so that's a question that I get a lot, and I'm like, where does this question come from? You know, because I don't take care of my voice.
You don't?
Yeah.
Because it's like, if you're a hand model, you know, the girl would like really lotion it up. They would even insure the hand itself.
Yeah.
But you don't have like an insurance for your box or anything,
I
like
don't
your
know.
voice
I
cords?
don't know. If someone sells like voiceover insurance, like do hit me up.
Do you think I could be a voiceover artist?
I mean, aren't you one?
Kind of. That was
Yeah,
a
I've heard your
stupid
stuff
question.
in on Radio Thailand.
Right.
But yeah, like Natty has a very nice voice. By
Of
the way.
course I do.
When she's not playing around. But I mean, like you read the news, or you read the news back in the day and stuff, and I didn't feel like that was the right kind of type of job for your voice. But when you do read like ads and stuff, I like that more. And you would do like some of the government propaganda, like the serious stuff.
Are we allowed
like,
to say any of this? Okay, go on.
It's true. You know, we
Okay.
were doing government propaganda.
Yeah.
Right? I do anything that comes my way, but
Right.
like, yeah, I love your voice when it's like, fun or like, soothing. But like when it's serious, like maybe that doesn't fit.
Yeah.
Right. And that's fine. Like, it doesn't make you a lesser voice artist or whatever. I feel like there's no, it's hard to say, oh, this voice artist is better than that voice artist, or this voice is better than that. It just depends on if it fits the job or not. That's it.
Right. So
Yeah.
everybody kind of has their own niche, I guess,
Yeah.
because it's the quality of your sound as
Yeah,
well. Like
yeah.
you can't really change how it sounds.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I did like a thing for Snickers, and I was like, maybe like a cab driver or something. They got me to do that, and they're like, no, we don't want you to sound like a voice artist. We want you to sound like a cab driver. And I'm like, I don't know, man. I sound like this. So,
Right.
yeah. So I mean, everyone, anyone can get into voiceovers, but you just need to find that one kind of role, at least to start off, where people know you for that role, so at least you get some work. Voice over work is just like acting, right? And movies just reflect life. So in life there are like 1,000 type of people. So one of those would fit your voice,
Oh.
I feel. But like I'm lucky because I do like the announcer kind of narrator voice, which, it could be any ad, but at the end there would be this one line that's like, Ford Ranger, live the Ranger life. And that's what I do, right? So,
Yeah.
So yeah, I get a lot of jobs because of that.
I hope you don't mind me asking, but how much do you make per day?
It's never the same. It depends on the scope of the job, right? If I make it seem like I don't get paid a lot, I can simply say, oh, if I did a 15-second ad, I might just get paid 8,000-9,000 baht for it in Thailand, which is kind of low. I mean, a 15-second ad or any kind of ad should be around 15K, right? And people would be like, well, that's so low. These big companies paying low. And it is kind of low, but that's the standard. I can't do nothing about it. But again, I'm going to really work just, 2 minutes for that amount of money. But what people don't see, if I don't tell them like the whole scope, is that when I go in, sometimes, let's say I do a campaign for Ford, I might just go in and say one tagline, like the Ford Ranger Raptor, and they use it in like 10 ads, so I'd get paid 10 times.
Nice.
And then they send it off to 10 countries, so I get paid 100 times.
Nice.
Right? So it's hard to say how much you'd make, but very easily you'd make like, 20,000-30,000 baht a day. At my level, where like people know me already for voiceovers, or sometimes if you have a couple big jobs per day, like if I did a campaign for Ford like that, it would still take me a couple hours, right? So that's like a booking in the morning. I could do another in the afternoon, something else. I could do another set in the evening, and when I get back home and I have my home studio, and that's where I work with my clients from overseas, and I have like clients from 68 countries, or maybe 69 now. I'm not so sure. Then you can make some more, right? So you're looking at maybe like 100K plus a day would be kind of easy if you landed the right jobs. But
Wow.
like for me, I think it doesn't matter how much you make. Like the hard part is actually building your clientele, getting people to know who you are and what you sound like, so that they'll call you when they need, a voiceover. Because lots of clients need voiceovers, but they don't need it every day. Right? Because ads launch every like few months. So that's the trick. Just have a lot of clients and you'll get paid. It doesn't matter, right? I'm not saying like go do like a 500 baht job. Don't do that.
Right. Do you think people who do that kind of kill the industry rate a little bit?
Yeah,
Because people know, oh, I can just use this person for 500.
Yeah, well, like I try not to hate. It does kill the industry a little bit, but like I'm a big believer in you get what you pay for, right? If you were like, hey, I'm gonna do it for 500 baht right now. Someone came to us right now and you're gonna be like, I'm gonna do 500 baht. I want you to use Krit tone, right? Most likely you're gonna have to record out of your phone.
Yes.
Because if you do 500 baht voiceovers, you don't have enough money to buy equipment, right? Now, if the client is happy with that, then that's cool. Right, but if the client is like, hey, we want better quality and whatnot, and starts demanding the person doing it for 500 baht, like, condenser microphone quality, then that's not cool. So I'm not hating on the person taking the job. Maybe they're in a difficult financial situation. Maybe their voice ain't very good. Maybe they're not trained. It's fine, but the client has to be happy with that quality, right?
Right.
And there are two cases that I'd like to highlight. One case, like this older gentleman, I think from Kansas, was like, hey, I'm starting a new business. And he's like 79, and he's like, and I'd really like you to voice this thing for me for my plywood business. And I'm like, okay, I'll do that for you. And he's like, I only have $100, which is 3,000 baht, which is like
yeah.
way low. But I'm like, he's starting off his business. It's not like I do a car ad and I know they're gonna, profit just from selling one car, right? Well, this guy, he's risking his $100 to start a business at 78. So I'm like, I'm gonna do that for you, sir. It's fine. And he's like, oh, but like I need it in the video. And usually I tell clients like, I'm not a video editor. I'm a voice artist, and the file I deliver is a WAV file or MP3 file. But again, he's 79, and and he's starting his business. So I'm like, okay, I will find a way to put my voice on a video for you, sir. Like if you need, So it depends on the client, depends on what they need and their level of professionalism. You got to help people out too. And in another case, right, of you getting what you pay for, clients that are at a high level, they don't care about the cost anymore. They just need the right voice for their product. You know how like brands, they have their corporate identity, they have their colors, whatnot, and they keep everything the same, especially like Mazda. These days their cars are all like red or white or silver and everything looks so congruent. It's super nice. But when it comes to the voice, they like to change the voice around all the time. And every once in a while there'll probably be an ad exec that wants to like switch things up and then switch the voices. And I've had a case where they hired someone for this car brand that I work for. It's not hard to guess, but I just won't say their name, And this guy came in and took all my ads. Took like 8 ads that I wanted to do, and I was just like depressed. And the client went with that dude. He was a foreign guy, and it was an English ad. I'm okay, a little depressed. I was like, God's a voiceover. I'm depressed here. Like, I want that ad. You know what I mean? And on the day that the guy recorded at 2 a.m., like the studio called me. They're like, hey, Krit, remember that job you didn't get? Like, you free tomorrow? We need to record. We need to record you. So the guy didn't do a very good job, or he did like in his own way, but it didn't fit. It didn't fit the ads. So I got paid. Again,
Nice.
He got paid.
Oh, he got paid.
Which is cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
He got paid, and I got paid.
You also got
right?
paid.
Like when it's a high level company like that, the cost doesn't matter. Right? It's just all about getting the right job, right guy for the job. And which brings me to another point, which is like, yeah, we talked about the Thai voiceover jobs that I do. We talked about, some of the overseas jobs that I do, but like, coming to that question where you were like, where to go from here? Like, I don't really have a direction, but one of the things that I like to do, I feel like I'm collecting little trophies or whatnot, is I like to do the jobs that like no Thai has ever been hired for. So if we pull up my ad, bloop, for like the Ford F-150 Lariat diesel, we don't have Ford F-150s here in Thailand. We have Ford Rangers, right? So, and like, of course, there's going to be a Thai guy voicing a Thai ad for the Ford Ranger. If that's not me, it's someone else. It's 1 out of 68 million Thais is going to voice a Thai, Ford Ranger ad for sure. No matter what. It just depends on who. But there's probably never been a Thai guy that voiced for a Ford F-150, because that's not a car that's in our market. It's a car somewhere else, right? Ford can hire anyone in the world, like any American, any South African, any Australian, anyone that speaks English to do a Ford F-150 ad. But they came all the way to hire this one Thai dude sitting here in Bangkok with a Thai name and a Thai face, or
Wait, how do you market yourself though to those people?
Well, I mean, you just have your samples online.
Okay.
Right? Or like, in particular, the Ford F-150, like, Ford's ad agencies, they already know that Ford in this area of the world works with me. So, when that ad came, they kind of just suggested my voice or whatnot,
So how can people find you? What's your
Well, my
link?
website is simply krittone.com, right? Or if you want to, check me out on social media, there's TikTok. It's also Krittone. And on Instagram is also Krittone, right? So some people asked me, like, why are you called Krittone? Do you know why I'm called Krittone?
Yes, because your name is Krit and Tone is your nickname.
That is correct. That
Okay.
that is correct. But a lot of people, and Tone is my nickname. Like Thais have, the nickname and then the real name and then the last name. But at school, it would be written Krit and then like parentheses tone,
Yeah.
Sukawat. And so that's what I kind of named my Instagram, like just Krit tone, right? Because just
Kinda
Krit
catchy.
was taken. But a lot of people would think it's like my voiceover name. Right?
Right.
I had some like people that worked with me for years, like, and they were like, wait, that's your actual name, Tone? I'm like, yeah.
Right.
Like people from high school, like my actual friends would call me Tone, but people from work, from my radio days of news anchoring and stuff, they'd call me Krit because that's how you know, introduce yourself on the news. You use your
Real
real
name.
name, right?
Right. Okay, any last tips for anybody who wants to start like this voiceover career?
Okay, so if you want to start your voiceover career and you have no idea how to get in, like number one, people would say go take a voiceover class or whatnot, and that's important too. But for me, I like to just get my hands dirty, right? So I would say find like 10 or 20 ads that you feel like you could do or you might want to try doing, and then just like just kind of copying the script, writing it down, practicing, trying to voice like the guy that voiced it, right? And you write it down and a script is just a script, but when you hear the voice, like you hear like where they stress it, where they pause, then you take that script and just change up the brand name or whatever, make up some fake brands, right? And then like kind of note what kind of music they used in that particular ad, and find like a no copyright track on YouTube or whatever. Then you just book a studio for yourself and you just tell them like, hey, I want to make some demos. When you go in the studio, record 6 or 7 of them, then you ask the sound engineer like, hey, can you export it where it's just my voice, so like with no effects, no nothing, but cut out the breath and the mistakes and whatnot, so you have the dry voice files. And then ask them to like mix it in with the tracks you chose for it, and like put effects, as in put like all the EQ, de-essing, and then like export it as if it was like a real ad. So now you have samples. Then what do you do with the samples? You hit up studios or agencies that represent voice artists and be like, hey, this is me, I'd like you to rep me, and then they'll totally ignore you. And,
Great advice.
It doesn't matter, because one day when they need a particular voice and they can't find anyone, like the guy they wanted is taking a vacation or whatever, they might call you up, and then when that day comes, then you go in. But on the other hand, you can go online and there's a bunch of like freelance websites and voiceover only websites, and you go into those sites and you upload all your samples and you fill everything out. If it's like you can fill in 1,000 characters, you're filling in 1,000 characters. Why? Because you want the keywords up on the site. But basically, if you want to be out there, you have to fight by putting your stuff out there. Yeah.
Right.
No way around that. You can take as many classes as you want,
Yeah.
and you'd be like so skillful and be able to analyze the script so well, but you may not get any jobs.
Yeah.
Right. So I'd get demos first, and then consider taking some classes when you're done with all that I told you to do, and then you may make new demos every year, every few months and stuff as you progress and you learn the skills. But
Right.
at least have something to give to people.
Right. So don't wait for perfection. Just kind of go out,
Exactly.
get your hands dirty, and just do it.
Yeah,
Right.
and it's gonna be trash. Like, the first demo was like, if I go back to
Yeah.
listen to it's like some of my first voiceovers, it's trash.
Oh no.
But like you kind of improve. And
Right.
for me, I never took any classes, and I don't say that like I'm proud of that. It's just I never took any classes, but I would learn on the spot. Like sometimes you're working with a client and they have the guy that directed their commercial, and like he's like super artsy and he knows what he wants, and then and you're voicing it a particular way. He's like, no, I need more oomph on the word love, and I'm like, oh, okay, and then you learn and you start to get a feel for what clients want, right, on the spot. And then, you get better as you go. I hope. I think I got better. I don't know.
I think you did. Well, thank you so much for the tips. But before you go, I hope you don't mind, but Jay, this is for you. So one of our other producers who is not here currently, he loves your voice so much.
Okay,
He's a
and
fan
he's
of you
gonna-
on TikTok.
Yeah. Should I give him my account number right now? Or what's
Yeah,
up?
you could. But he wants you to say this line, but in your Krit tone.
This is like some Batman stuff, right?
Yeah, okay, you know it.
Jay's the guy we met downstairs.
Yes.
Jay is a hero. Not the hero we deserved, but the hero we needed.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Thank you very much, Krit, for joining me in this second episode of Thaiger Podcast.
No problem at all.
And guys, if you want to check out Kun Krit, you can check out his portfolio at Krit Tone .com. I think that is your website.
Krittone.com or Krittone on Instagram and on TikTok. KRITTONE.
Yep.
Laters.